We denounce these illegal tariffs, and we think that they're a direct attack against our workers and now in the copper industry. And so we'll fight against
$2.5 billion gone. That's what Ford says tariffs will cost its books in 2025. Across town, analysts warn Stellantis could see profits crash by 75% if the levies stick. But the real drama? It's unfolding north of the border. Canada's Foreign Minister Mélanie Joly has gone from diplomat to fighter, calling the US tariffs a direct hit on Canadian workers. She's marked July 21st as a red line moment. If the White House doesn't back down, Ottawa's ready to strike back. Power cuts, aluminum bans, lumber tariffs, and a $29.8 billion Canadian dollar counterattack. Once trade brothers, the US and Canada now look like rivals. One throws tariff punches from Washington, the other signs deals with Europe and Asia. Time's ticking. If the White House blinks, Detroit breathes. If not, Ottawa swings next, and workers on both sides of the border will feel it. Washington dusted off a Cold War law, Section 232 of the 1962 Trade Expansion Act, meant for missiles, not minivans. Under it, the White House imposed new tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminium, copper, and vehicles. The reason? National security. The reality? Half of Detroit's metal comes from Canada. And this isn't just about Canada. In early July, the US sent letters to 20 countries, sign new trade deals, or face blanket tariffs of 25 to 50% by Liberation Day. Markets took note. Investors dumped US treasuries, yields spiked, and billions fled Wall Street in days. If even Canada can be branded a threat, who's safe? When the Oval Office says security, allies now hear leverage. Then came July 11th, when the US dropped a 35% blanket tariff on all Canadian imports, effective August 1st. Ottawa treated it like a fire alarm. Within 48 hours, Joly met with top mining firms. She laid out two paths. Either the US reverses before July 21st, or Canada locks the gates. Plan A, scrap the tariffs, resume talks. Plan B, match the 25% tariff on steel, ban hydro exports to New York and Michigan, halt aluminum shipments to the Midwest, and tax softwood lumber to the Pacific Northwest. Each move is chosen for impact. Hydropower from Ontario powers Buffalo and Syracuse. Quebec Aluminum builds every third pickup truck in Michigan. BC lumber frames half the new homes on the US West Coast. Premier Doug Ford confirmed Ontario's ready. If the US doesn't retreat by midnight July 22nd, a $7 per megawatt-hour surcharge hits US buyers. That's up to $300,000 per day, enough to gut summer profits for dozens of US factories. And regular Canadians? They're already voting with their wallets. Cross-border travel is down 76% year over year. If the White House backs down, the pain vanishes. If not, the chain reaction begins at Ontario's dams and ends with tourists trading Disney passes for Croatian beaches. Until 2 weeks ago, a piston cast in Quebec could cross the US border 6 times before ending up in an F-150. That dance broke on July 11th. GM halted a pickup line in Mexico and warned Windsor its camshaft row could idle for weeks. Stellantis had already laid off 900 US workers and paused Brampton assembly in April. Now copper prices have spiked to $5.68 per pound, with suppliers slapping surcharges on harnesses and radiators. Ottawa's retaliation hits the same choke points. Mines in Sudbury are redirecting aluminium to Rotterdam. Ontario's power surcharge kicks in July 22nd if talks fail, hitting 170-plus US plants. The result? Auto prices are about to surge. Industry analysts expect up to $7,000 more on mid-size SUVs once inventory clears. Ohio and Texas dealers say customers are rushing to buy before the hikes. Banks report more 7-year car loans as families brace for higher monthly payments. The border is already cooling. Truck traffic on the Ambassador Bridge is down 18%. Amtrak cut 2 daily runs on the Toronto-Chicago line after bookings collapsed. For decades, auto manufacturing relied on just-in-time parts. Now, every border crossing costs more. Money, not minutes. And that piston stuck at customs? It's just the start. Look around your hardware store. Since June, aluminium premiums jumped 161%. Hot-rolled steel in Chicago sits at $881 a ton, 33% higher than last fall. Prices are creeping into everything: refrigerators, grills, body panels. Coca-Cola says it's shifting summer promos to plastic bottles. A Reuters survey shows food companies testing foil pouches to dodge metal costs. Builders aren't as lucky. The National Association of Home Builders warns tariffs on lumber, copper and steel will tack $10,900 onto new homes. Ohio mortgage brokers say that alone prices out 1 in 12 first-time buyers, and the pressure hits wallets fast. A July 11th PMI report flagged the sharpest consumer price hikes since winter. The San Francisco Fed says real household income could fall 0.4%, about $320 per paycheck if tariffs go full force. Ottawa's counterpunch could tighten that grip. If talks fail, Ontario's 25% hydro fee lifts U.S. factory power bills and hits grocery shelves and parts bins within weeks. Tariffs were sold as protection, but the bill lands in shopping carts and loan documents. The real question now: how long will consumers keep swiping before they feel the squeeze? And behind all of this is a bigger shift. Trust is evaporating. Since Trump's tariff blitz, Canada's U.S. export share dropped from 78% to 68%. Investors are already hedging. 4 months of tariff threats wiped out $4 trillion in U.S. stock market value. Safe havens like gold and European bonds are surging. And again, the Fed warns of a 0.4% drop in household income. That's a pay cut before any factory job returns. The US dollar isn't collapsing, but the erosion, it's visible. Every tariff notice sends another shipment to Rotterdam and another banker quoting in euros. Confidence, once free, now comes at a premium. So here's the real question. What if your grocery bill starts to feel like a tax? In 6 weeks, tariffs shattered the U.S. Canada supply chain, froze auto lines, and inflated aluminium costs by 162%. On July 14th, the TSX dipped as investors braced for stalled negotiations. Will the White House blink before July 21st? Or will Canada forge ahead, trading in dollars for yuan? Let us know your thoughts right here on Capital Crisis.